And I think that there are basically only two things that I might, from my mixed private sector and government experience, offer in response to that question. And that is, on the one hand, governments must attempt to think far more, not only quickly, but far more what I think people in business schools call out of the box about how they are going to run their societies. Whilst not being simplistic about the difficulty of being answerable to a range of, particularly a complex range of voters and stakeholders as people are in India, I think notwithstanding that, there is capacity for governments across the world to really try and break away from the idea in particular that governments have to be the repository of wisdom, that governments ultimately have to be the people who are driving the way that society develops, who have to be the people who are making sure that everybody is getting their fair share of the wealth or comfort or food or whatever it may be. They really need to start thinking far more creatively about bringing in the other major stakeholders in society, namely, put very broadly, the private sector and the civil society sector. And there's a whole other speech out there about how they interact with both of those. But I think what we have seen, and I have been actually privileged personally to see this happening on a global platform when I was working at the United Nations in New York, what we have seen is a really quite fast evolution of influence for both private sector companies and for civil society at a global level, talking about global governance. And obviously that itself has been hugely aided by the evolution of technology. Let me just give you a very quick example. When I was in New York, we held a big conference there about the rights of women. Now, just 10 years before that, there had been the previous conference about the rights of women, and a series of very conservative governments had been able to bring that proceedings